You're listening to the Geriatric Mamas podcast with Jessica Rosé
and Sonia Tapley.
Hey mamas, welcome back to another episode of the Geriatric Mamas podcast. This week, we're sharing your top 10 favorite moments of the podcast from the first 57 episodes published in the first year of being live on all podcast platforms. Yes, mamas, if you're a publisher on the platforms, you can see how many people are tuning in from the beginning of an episode and staying until the end, what parts of the episode people are jumping off and back on for, etc., etc. And the data is all in. We hope you're ready for a flashback of your favorite moments. Please subscribe and enjoy. Hey mamas, are you someone who's 35 plus and struggled with fertility, endured a miscarriage, experienced heartbreaking fostering or adoption challenges, or were perhaps flat out told by a doctor that you will never conceive naturally, and despite the odds, eventually found your happy ending by becoming a mama?
Send us your story at geriatricmamas.com. We would love to feature your journey to motherhood on a future Geriatric Mamas episode.
Mamas, I love a full and silky texture in my face creams because they feel so healing and comforting to my dry, thirsty skin. Well, the award-winning, best-selling, lightweight moisture release water cream by Honest Beauty called Hydrogel Cream refreshes and cools my skin on application and leaves a dewy finish. As I mentioned on the Hope-isode, Kathy's story, I love mixing Hydrogel Cream into my foundation for a healthy-looking glow. Infused with jojoba and squalene to help hydrate and soothe thirst, plus 2 sizes of hyaluronic acid to help soften and firm, reducing the appearance of fine lines. Honest Beauty's Hydrogel Cream will provide a beautiful glow for very dry skin. We're leaving the link below in our show notes. Drink up, mamas.
Mamas, I want to have rosé all day, have fun, and let myself live a little without feeling drunk or feeling hungover the next day. So I treat myself by adding rosé tinted glasses to my sparkling water or lemonade. If you're like me and you're looking for calm daytime energy while feeling alert, present, and uplifted because, well, you know, you're a mom now. Adaptogenic and antioxidant-rich ingredients make rosé tinted glasses from Apothecary great for those battling feelings of stress and looking to curb signs of aging with improved skin tone and moisture. Its tincture format makes it easy to drop wherever you're making it. It's perfect for busy working moms, busy stay-at-home moms who are looking for mood and energy support on the go. We're leaving the link below and in our show notes. So cheers, mamas!
So this week I saw on people.com that a California restaurant mistakenly served a toddler cooking wine instead of juice, landing her in the emergency room with 0.12 blood alcohol content. Like, first of all, let's talk about what's considered a high blood alcohol level. So got this from ScienceDirect.com. Levels of 0.10 to 0.20 are associated with impaired judgment, balance, and memory. Levels of 0.20 to 0.30 are associated with confusion, disorientation, and levels greater than 0.35 cause stupor, disordered breathing, and ultimately coma and death. Most alcohol-related trauma occurs at legal intoxication levels or higher, while coma and death have been described in young men or women who drink excessive amounts of alcohol over a short period of time. According to the local outlet KSBW8, Naomi Valencia and her partner were with their 2-year-old daughter at the Fujiyama Japanese restaurant in Salinas on August 17th when they noticed that their youngster was experiencing signs of intoxication. First of all, I feel like Hayden always looks intoxicated. So the extreme that this poor baby probably was acting for them to notice something was off. Oh my God. She was swaying, she was falling over, she was leaning on walls, she couldn't hold her head up, she was slurring her words, Valencia explained of her daughter, which prompted immediate concern. The parents investigated their toddler's cup and discovered that the beverage she was given and told was apple juice was actually cooking wine. Restaurant staff told the couple that the alcoholic beverage had been mislabeled as apple juice by a staffer, according to the publication. Holy OSHA violation.
Yeah. Seriously.
Like, that's a whole part of it, is everything needs to be clearly labeled.
Right.
Wow. The
With
rage.
the right thing in it. Yeah.
The rage. Like, I can't even.
Right.
The concerned parents quickly rushed their child to Salinas Valley ER, where they spent the night. A blood test revealed that the child had a blood alcohol content of 0.12, which is twice the legal limit for consenting adults. Holy shit. The child has since sobered up and recovered, but Valencia is urging other parents to be more diligent about checking what their young ones are served at restaurants. Like,
Right.
You shouldn't have enough shit about that. To be worrying about. Now I have to like give this sniff test and make sure that they're actually giving my child apple juice. Are you kidding?
Like, you're just trying to go out for a somewhat peaceful Saturday evening with your toddler and your husband, and all of a sudden your toddler is textbook drunk. Like, drunk. Can you imagine?
No.
So, I mean, her advice at the end, I guess, you know, now all of us mamas have to take heed, because you never know what people are actually giving your toddlers. I guess.
No, that is like, I can't. I literally can't. Like, we already have enough shit to be like concerned about. Like, you know, what and now it's like, oh, just add that to your list of things that you were already freaking out about. It's like, oh, you wanted chocolate milk, not Bailey's? Oh, that's weird. I guess we'll just put this back. Sorry about that. Free of charge. It's on the house. Don't worry about it. Jesus.
Oh, man. I'll take it. I'll take the Bailey's.
Holy shit. I can't. I literally can't. Yeah, when I saw that like headline come through and I sent it to you right away, I actually didn't read the article until right now. I lived in the headlines per usual. But yeah, literally, I'm just like, is this a joke? This has to be a joke, and it's definitely not a joke.
Sometimes the headlines are just enough. Like, you don't need to hear more. You're good, and you know, here we are. We're diving into it. So,
and I think cooking wine, if I'm not mistaken, I think cooking wine has a higher alcohol content than like regular wine as well.
You might be right. You know,
I don't really know. I think because, and I'm assuming because like a lot of the alcohol content, it burns off when you're cooking. So I think maybe it's higher. I don't know. But, and it's disgusting too. Like, I'm surprised the child wasn't like, ew, what is this? Like, ew, like, it's not good. It's disgusting. Like, regular wine, if you haven't like drank regular wine in a while, is like bitter and disgusting. So imagine like something that's not intended to be like just ingested like that.
Gross. Nasty.
Disgusting.
Poor thing. Right. She's probably like, this apple juice isn't that great, but I'm thirsty, so I'm just gonna drink it, I guess.
Poor baby. Well, we're happy that she's okay. So my goodness.
She's sobered up. Hopefully everything's okay.
She's now in AA.
Yeah, seriously. I want some more of that apple juice, mommy.
She's on that 12-step program for babies.
So, shall we get into it?
We shall, yes.
This week, we're sharing your top 10 favorite moments of the podcast from the first 57 episodes published in the first year of being live on all podcast platforms, as promised. Yes, mamas, if you're a publisher on the platforms, you can see how many people are tuning in from the beginning of an episode and staying on until the end, which parts of the episode people are jumping off and then back on for, etc., etc.
It definitely humbled us. Let's just say
that. Yes, it did. And so, you know, the data is all in. So let's jump into your top 10 favorite moments, starting with 10 and working our way to number 1. And we hope you enjoy.
This is
enlightening. Oh my goodness.
It is definitely enlightening. You're just like, oh wait, you don't appreciate my full-on life update for 15 minutes talking about.
You didn't think that was hilarious. You didn't think my anecdote was like the best. Shoot.
Yeah. So it's fine. Our feelings were only hurt just a little bit, but you know what? Slightly. Knowledge is power.
Right.
We cried a little. It's fine. We're over it. We're big girls.
Yeah. We put our big girl panties on.
Yeah. It's fine. Just knowledge is power. We hear you. We see you. And we are here to deliver what you want.
Exactly.
That is what we're here for. Starting with the number 10 moment is from Geriatric Coffee Convos. We're just living on the headlines this week. So that's actually fitting for what I did with that whole wine headline.
I'm going to hit play on the most popular clip from that episode.
Going back to like genetic incest. So they were saying like, you know, if you think about it, like the bigger problem here, you have this guy, right? He's like spreading his seed all over the world. And so he has like hundreds, thousands probably of kids. And they were saying like, you know, imagine like, you know, your child goes off to university and they lock eyes with somebody and they think it's love at first sight. They feel that attraction and they don't realize what it is. They think it's love and they fall in love, but really it's because they're siblings. So they're immediately attracted to each other and they have that connection because they're fucking siblings, but they're mistaking it for being in love.
Yeah. And remember how we kind of talked about this on Lisa Schumann's episode, because she deals with like sperm donors and egg donors and all of this. And there's 23andMe and, you know, people who are marrying their siblings. And of course, it's not even at that magnitude and what we were talking about. So what's happening with him in the Netherlands has got to be on a scale of like 1,000. Okay, so now I'm going to play the clip from Lisa Schumann's episode that we were referring to, just to give it a little more context.
If people are going onto the internet, they'll probably see that there's a lot of donor-conceived people who are very unhappy. And those people are usually people who have found out accidentally, or they've had some other traumatic experience. And so they feel very angry about being donor conceived. And then, of course, there is, you know, this difficulty of the limitations that we do have in this country. Right now, there's no tracking system for donors. And so that's just one of the problems that we have that we need to fix and haven't yet. And so as a result, there are, you know, hundreds of donor-related siblings that people have, which is, you know, very stressful for people. You know, you don't want to marry a sibling. So...
Oh my God, I didn't even think of that. You're right. Could you imagine?
It's already happened where people have grown up in small towns together, where they've become friends and they didn't know they were related. Oh
wow. Yeah. That's like I feel like that's a whole other episode. That's crazy. I didn't even think of that. Wow. Yeah. I could see that happening.
In the future, we don't have flying cars, but we do have 23andMe. So we definitely need to get Lisa Schumann back on to do a whole episode about that. Like,
it's just that topic alone is like terrifying. And it's just like, you know, the whole like dating idea of trying to find somebody in the whole dating world is hard enough as it is. It's already complicated. And now you have to like worry about being related. Like, ew, oh my God.
You have to worry about being related so that you're literally not marrying a sibling.
Or you could just do what that the power ejaculator had suggested and have that little icon plastered
have like
to
a little
your
just on social media so that you're covered on social media, but in real life you're probably gonna have to wear like a bracelet or you know, a light
or like
on your
a badge or just just get a tattoo, like a little teardrop or something.
Product of so and so.
So disgusting.
You know, they do branding for cows, so there's always branding. You can brand yourself.
Like getting hot and heavy, and then like she rolls over and you see the branding on her ass. You're like, shit, another one. Get out of here, sister.
Taking back tattoos to a whole new level.
Sick.
Oh gosh. Okay, so that was number 10 of your top 10 listener favorites. So now, are we ready to move on?
We are. Let's do it.
Good. Okay, so we're going to move on to number 9. This is from one of my favorite episodes, but it's not about me. Not about me.
Clearly, it's not about us. The data shows it is not about us.
No, it is not. Nope. So, thankfully, though, it is there, and it's how to sync your life to your cycle so you can thrive and also not murder anyone in your luteal phase. I mean, you need to know this information, so I'm glad
really
it's in the
do.
top 10, at least.
This is one of my favorites also. It explains so much.
Yeah. There's that huge drop that happens right after, like, ovulation, and I can literally feel that. So that's usually around the time that I'm texting you guys, so I guess give it, like, 11 to 14 days before you feel safe from my rage texts, basically. But, I mean, you guys haven't gotten them for such a long time. And
I wonder how many women, like, I wonder how many women
go through the level.
Murdered people because they were on.
Couldn't you just...
I wonder where Jodi Arias was in her phase when she decided to decapitate her boyfriend.
I think that's a really valid question.
I feel like
luteal phase is to blame for rage texts, going off the grid, and murder. Clearly.
It's totally.
I'm just wondering how many women have been diagnosed as straight psycho.
I'm not excusing murder. I'm not saying that, like, this is an excuse for murder. But like, what if though that, like, could you imagine, like, using that as, like, an excuse?
What if PMS is responsible for a lot of murders?
That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah, like, what if it's like, well, she's not actually psychotic. She's just on her period.
Right. This was manslaughter. This was not this is murder.
This is menstrual slaughter.
Yes.
This is menslaughter. Manslaughter.
Manslaughter. Anyone who, like, went...
Let's just change this podcast real quick. Let's change it to, like, I don't know what we'll call it menslaughter.
Mm-hmm.
And it's literally interviewing women, deadly women, and then trying to figure out where they were on their on their phases. But what if they were all like, I know, but like, what if they were all like on their, like, which one is the psychotic phase? Is it menstrual or luteal?
End of the luteal phase into the menstrual.
Okay. So what if that's where they all were when shit went down?
It's when Sonia rage texts you. That's where they were. That's where they were. That exact point of their menstrual cycle when they killed who they killed.
Yeah.
It's totally
justified. That's interesting.
It's completely justified.
Imagine, like, creating, like, a coffee table book of just, like, all these, like, women murderers. And then it's like, let's patent that. Let's edit that out. I don't want people to steal that idea. We're going to keep that.
Yeah, we got to edit. You're right. And then, okay, so we can have their mugshot or, like, a really nice portrait. Yeah. So that is the clip.
We still need to create that coffee table book. I feel like that is such a genius idea, and I'm still fascinated. I would really like to know where all these bitches were in their cycle that turned to murder. Like, it's like, were you
moral of the story? Check in on your friends. You need to know where your friends are in their cycles at all times. I really feel like there should be an app so that you can just add each one of your friends into the app and then put, like, maybe, like, the first day of their period or whatever. Like, you all check in, you pop it in there, and then everybody knows what to expect from each other for the foreseeable future.
Yeah,
and then
like, it's like, I'm going to, like, come to Sonia with some fuckery, but let me check the app real quick. Oh, yeah, I'm going to save this fuckery for next week.
Yeah.
Because she can't handle it this week.
She can't handle it this week. And this would also be something that smart husbands would invest them. Like, they would invest in this app. They would put it on their phone. They would be checking it avidly to make sure they didn't miss a detail, because those are the ones that end up being killed during the luteal phase, as the husbands. Those are the ones.
They are. And I guarantee you, she gave all kinds of signs. She gave all kinds of warnings that she was ready to snap, and they just kept fucking with her. Kept poking. And then all of a sudden, that luteal rage was just like out of control. That's what
I'm surprised the world hasn't caught on to this yet. Like,
no,
it is what it is. It's blatant. It's hello.
So
it's a thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right. So moving on to number 8 top pick. Who are they calling geriatric? With Mariela Di Santiago from Mama Wears Athleisure. So Sonia.
Yeah, I'm gonna hit it.
the first time I heard the term was when Meghan Markle became pregnant.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which
she was like 37 or 38, right? When she met Harry, right? Prince Harry, or when they got married. Yeah.
Yeah. And so she was right around there, like late 30s when she was pregnant with her first. And I was like, geriatric? What? She's not that old.
What are you talking about?
Right.
Yeah. And then fast forward to me going through my pregnancy. And then I walk into the doctors and they're like, well, yeah, you have to take all these tests because you are geriatric.
It's hilarious.
It's so good.
It's offensive.
It's so good. It really is.
You just innocently walk into the doctor's office. You tell them, I want to have a baby. And all of a sudden, they're calling you names. You're called.
They're calling you names.
It's rude. It's like, and it's also the whole reason why this podcast exists.
Yes.
What's that? Yeah.
It's just like, did you not have your coffee this morning, doctor? Why are you calling me names? That's not nice.
Right.
Yeah.
Should I leave and come back?
That's how this podcast originated. It's just because like the term geriatric is just so offensive. It's so uncomfortable. And it's so uncomfortable that it's hilarious. Like I can't say it. I can't call myself geriatric and not laugh after because it's just so funny. There'll be a day where we don't find it funny because like we actually are geriatric.
Right.
But right now it's just like, are you kidding? Like,
I hope everyone is still walking around with their Geriatric Mamas t-shirts when we're actually geriatric.
Yeah, I know, right? Oh my gosh. If anybody hasn't seen it yet, it's Life and Beth on Hulu with Amy Schumer. It's hilarious. I think it's season 2. Watch all of them. It's really funny. But in season 2, she has one of those moments where she goes to the doctor and she's talking about being pregnant. And then they were like, oh yeah, your geriatric pregnancy. She's like, my what? And it's Amy Schumer, so it's hilarious. It's so good.
Yeah.
But she literally had I'm like, I feel this moment. So like this is speaking to me directly. All of us, because that's how it starts. And you're just like, I'm sorry, that's offensive. Stop calling me names.
It's so abrupt. Where does it come from? It's just like 1 minute you're being told you don't even look like you're 20 yet. And then the next minute you're being told you're geriatric. Like, how does this happen? I don't understand.
Have you seen those reels that are trending now where moms are like, it's millennial moms that are like, I was born in the 80s, graduated in early 2000s, partied all through my 20s, and now I'm a teen mom, but everybody keeps telling me I'm 37. It's like those things because it's like they have the mindset of like, no, I'm just like a teen mom, I'm young, and it's like, no, bitch, you're like 37, you're geriatric.
Is it just this generation that feels that way? Because I don't remember my mom ever saying it, but it's so true. I feel that. Yeah. I feel it.
I know. I don't know. I feel like it's just our generation.
Yeah, it might be. All right. So moving on to listener favorite moment number 7. This is surprising. So Kris Jenner wants to be pregnant and the oldest woman to ever conceive naturally. So to be honest, I thought this episode tanked because at first the early numbers were horrible. And so then I was going back in and the numbers were rising and then, zeroing in on the top moment from it.
I feel like it's the headline. I feel like the headline was a little misleading. I think people really thought that Kris Jenner was trying to become the oldest woman to conceive. And it was I feel like that's the way it reads. Is like she's trying to get pregnant and become.
You're right. That's kind of what it looks like.
I feel like people are like, wait, what? What's happening? Yeah. Let's tune into that. So I feel like that's probably what happened. Yeah. But it's fine. Whatever. Tabloids do that shit all the time.
This episode had a lot to unpack. It had a lot to unpack. So here we are, and we are going to unpack the number one moment from this episode.
Kris Jenner is ready for baby number 7. During Thursday's episode of The Kardashians on Hulu, the 68-year-old momager confessed that she would happily get pregnant again after having 6 kids. She makes beautiful babies, by the way. Really, so, like, if anybody's going to continue to reproduce until they expire, I feel like it's this woman. Because, I mean, I don't know what is going on in that uterus of hers, but, like,
keep it going.
Keep it going. we need Kris Jenner to solely just, like, populate the United States.
We might get a little backlash on that, but it's fine.
Definitely going to, but I don't care. I stand by it. I stand by every word. Kris made the unexpected comment while chatting with Khloe Kardashian, Malika Hack, and Scott Disick about Malika's interest in having a second child. "I would be pregnant right now if I could," Kris said. "Oi, Khloe, 39, simply responded. I can definitely hear her. Kris, who had 6 kids total with exes Rob Kardashian and Caitlyn Jenner, then Bruce Jenner, between 1979 and 1997, and has been dating Corey Gamble, 43, since 2014, said that she just can't be pregnant now. But Khloe pointed out that her mom was wrong. Oh, God. "You know you can," she said. "You know your uterus doesn't age, so you're good if you want to carry her baby."
I mean, Khloe said it, so I guess there's our answer.
There's her answer. Dr. Khloe checking in. She just entered the chat.
Exactly. Thank you for clearing that up. So it's so funny because after the episode, I researched, like, when does your uterus start to, like, die, or, like, when can you not conceive? And it basically said that it ages like the rest of the body. So I want to know where she's getting that from. Like, maybe their doctor said that or something. I don't know. So weird, but also hilarious.
Yeah, we need to figure out where Dr. Khloe got that information.
Right.
She sounded very, very sure of herself.
Maybe we should check in. We will maybe tag her in a post from this episode and see if she responds, because apparently they actually do see our stories, because Stassi Schroeder hit heart on one of our stories.
I know,
that we
I
mentioned
saw
her.
that.
And it wasn't even the episode where her name was in the title, because we have one episode where her name is in the title. It was a different episode.
Yeah, my heart sunk a little, like in a good way. I was like, I know, when I saw that. Like, oh my God, fangirling so hard right now.
So maybe Dr. Khloe will respond.
Yeah. Dr. Khloe, we need
if you're wondering about where she found that information, stay tuned. We will see if we can find it for you.
Please send us everything that you have on this topic. All right, so moving on to the number 6 fan favorite is a hope-isode, and this is Carly's story. Oh, this was like a tearjerker for sure. Yes. Absolutely. This is a good one.
This one was, you needed to have your tissues ready for sure.
My whole life revolved around defying odds and proving people wrong. Soccer taught me how to work hard, persevere, be resilient, and never give up. I would do whatever it took to prepare, and usually when I prepared, I got results. This is so relatable. But I found out that I didn't know much about this world. I was very naive to think that we wouldn't have any issues getting pregnant. And so it began. The casual, whatever happens, happens, turned into disappointment month after month. I was starting to feel like this was a race against the clock, my 40-year-old biological clock. Yup. It's so hard too with people like that are also, for me, like I was like such a control freak, and like this is the one thing that I didn't really feel like I could control. Like I was controlling all the outside factors, but like it didn't necessarily mean anything, and it's awful.
Right, exactly. I know. And the heartbreak month after month, and just the absolute, like, you have zero control, but you're just relying on your body to do what it needs to do month after month. I mean, it's the blind faith and trust, and then the heartbreak every month that I got with that whole 4 years of us trying naturally. Yeah.
Carly.
Right. So many women.
It ends in it has a happy ending.
Right. That's why it's called a hope-isode. Yeah. But I mean, like, so many women just feel as though, and I was one of them, feel as though they can get pregnant all the way up until, I don't know, whatever threshold they have in their mind, like 41, 42. I think, to be honest with you, I think a lot of women who have submitted their story kind of like subconsciously feel like their threshold is 41 or 42 or something. And like, you know,
I guess I actually don't know that I ever really thought that I had a threshold. I guess I just assumed that I was a fertile myrtle and I was going to be able to reproduce
till the
for
end
however
of time.
long I wanted to. Like, I guess I just, and obviously I knew like that's not how it works, but like I just never thought about it. Like I just thought that it was going to happen when I was ready for it to happen. And surprise, it doesn't work that way.
No, unfortunately it doesn't. No matter how much control you usually have over your life, you don't have control over whether or not you get pregnant. And it becomes so much more enlightening as you start to go through the process when you try to get pregnant when you're older. And even if you are someone who is able to conceive naturally fairly easily, you still hear the term from the doctor or someone tells you and you're like, oh, I didn't realize. Oh, well,
good to know.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Good talk.
Well, speaking of, that was a good talk. So now we're moving on to number 5, and it's another hope-isode, and this one is Alyssa's story.
Yes.
So
this was like one of our first hope-isodes. Yeah. Natalie's was our first, but like this was like our second, I think.
Yeah.
That's such an amazing feeling. Like, especially after like being beaten down and made to feel like you're just, you know, this like old barren of a woman, you know?
Right. Yeah. He kept saying like, you don't really have good odds. You know, he's like, he basically didn't tell me I'm old, but he's like, your age,
and not so many
your
words.
hormones. I know. And Brian was like, but it just takes like one egg and one sperm to get together. He's like, yeah. So he's like, Brian's like, it could happen. And Brian just is such a positive person. Like when he had cancer, he just like knew. He's like, you know what? Like I knew it was all gone when they did all the surgeries. And he's like, the day after our appointment, he was just like, I know that we're going to get pregnant somehow. But like in my head, I was like, we're not. Like, I guess I'm going to be a dog mom for life and just have a bunch of dogs.
Nothing wrong with that, by the way.
No, not at all.
Yeah. That is like the mindset that you need to have. And I don't know Brian, and I already love him for that. And just the fact that he was her ray of sunshine during that time where she's just like, okay, so it's not going to happen. He's just like, wait, so what are the odds? That's the percent. Yeah. So you're saying there's a chance? Cool. Let's try it. Like, or we're going to go for it. We're going to try. Like, that is just like, that's the type of energy that you need around you when you're going through that. So kudos to him. That is just, I loved, that was one of my favorite parts of that whole story too.
Yeah, exactly. It was really good.
So number 4 on our list from our fan favorites is one of my favorite terms. It just makes me laugh every single time.
So good.
It's the episode called Irresponsible Reproductive Citizens. Let's flop into it. This is one of our earlier episodes, so let's tune in to see what part was our listeners' favorite.
So there was a study published in the journal Health. It was published in the journal Health, Risk, and Society from Concordia University. I might be saying that incorrectly. Apologize. Political science professor Francesca Scala analyzes the stigma against older mothers. For her research, she reviewed policy documents, government reports, professional statements, and guidelines from organizations such as Canadian Medical Association, containing terms such as advanced maternal age, delayed childbearing, older mothers, and infertility. They found 3 representations of older mothers as risk-producing subjects, unnatural mothers, and get ready for this, and irresponsible reproductive citizens.
Oh, that's a good one. Maybe we should have
irresponsible.
That. That's what we should have named this thing.
Okay, new podcast name. We are now the irresponsible reproductive citizens.
Whoops.
You're
My
welcome.
bad. irresponsible reproductive citizens.
I literally can't. Oh my God. Yeah, that is still like a really hilarious term. Talk about like offensive and rude. Not, being called geriatric is like in itself is just like, what the hell? But irresponsible reproductive citizen is just like, I can't. It's so good. It's so funny.
And like, I was worried when people saw the title of this episode, they weren't going to fully get it. I mean, I know there's a hint of it there. You can kind of sense where we're going with it. But I was so worried that listeners weren't going to like really care because like, what does that even mean? And then for it to be in the top 4, and that was eye-opening when I was getting in there. I was like, it's in the top 4? So people got it. And like, they wanted to hear it. So that was really...
Can I also say, it's like kind of painful to hear our earlier episodes, the way that we just like stumble over our words and like don't have our thoughts ready. And how we've grown, Sonia.
Right.
How we've
Jessica's
grown. Trying
to circle back to the point. Sonia's still going off about something
like, what were
else.
we talking about again?
Right.
Now we realize we can't get drunk as we're doing this. We have to actually be coherent and understand what we're saying.
We're both trying to tell everybody that we're type A in different ways. I am just like, I really hone it in and repeat myself 3 times, and Jessica just make sure she gets it in there somewhere.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. So moving on to listener favorite number 3, parenting styles at home and on Hulu. Parenting styles is just such a
This was a very long episode.
Yes, it
was like a 2-hour long episode.
Yeah.
But it was fun. It was a good one. I mean, you guys need to watch the show on Hulu. You definitely need to watch it. It's good. It's enlightening.
Yeah. There's a lot of great info in there. We're going to play a clip of one of the favorite moments on this episode, which has a great tip as well, I kind of think, if I remember right.
This one I was very surprised with because it's not, well, when you watch the show on Hulu, the Parent Test, I was not expecting to like this style because traditionally you wouldn't. But the discipline, or I wouldn't traditionally, maybe other people would, but discipline emphasis is clear on boundaries and consequences for bad behavior. From the Parent Test, if her daughter were to slam the door, then the door would be removed. I'm fine with that.
Right. I don't hate that. I don't
hate that. So one thing that I really like stood out to me that I really liked. So before seeing this mother's style on the Parent Test, the way that I always viewed discipline was just very strict, very like we have all these rules and like there's a cause and effect for everything that you do and blah 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 blah. And the thing that I really appreciated from the mother on the Parent Test is that I felt like all of the rules that she had in place were for a reason and they were justified. And her whole thing was like, I'm going to be firm, but I'm fair. And so like, she has a rule where she's like, okay, we have shorts. And if she bends over, I need to make sure that I don't see any booty. And if I see booty, then those shorts are too short. And when she wears a skirt, it has to be like, can't be much higher than this part. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with those rules. And like their relationship was just so surprising to me. There was so much love there, so much respect. They had very much like a Gilmore Girls relationship. And like, I loved it. Like it really opened my eyes because I think, before the show, I really view discipline as almost kind of like a negative thing. Where I was like, oh, they're going to put him in a box. It's not going to work. But I think that you do need a level of discipline because all of her rules were in place for a reason. It's for safety. And it was to ensure her daughter stayed in line and was safe. And so that way, when she wasn't around, she knew that her daughter had good morals and understood right from wrong and what she was supposed to do and understood her boundaries, understood her limit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely, 1000%. I now view it. And I think, with anything, there's different extremes to it. I think she was more of like a modern approach to discipline. I think the old school traditional way of discipline is not it. For me, that is not anything I would relate to. But her approach with it was, it's about safety. Like, these are the boundaries. These are the guidelines. These are in place for this reason. It's to keep you safe. It's not just to give you a rule to give you a rule. It's for a reason. And this is why. And it was just very much open communication and just about respect, and then everything else was just love, and it was just there was so much love there, and it definitely.
I think the way she did it, her daughter knew that the strict rules were in place for her safety, and I think there's even a certain point in toddlerhood, once they're kind of past the crazy phase, once they're past the feral phase, there is a point when you can start to kind of point out the reasons for things, and they start to process it and understand. Like, for example, pacifiers mess up your teeth badly, especially when they're in your mouth 24/7. You need to brush your teeth, because if you don't brush your teeth, they're going to fall out way before they're supposed to, and you're not going to be able to eat food, So like there's a certain point after they get through the crazy phase where you can start to kind of tell them the truth about things and why you're trying to do it. And then they're like, oh, okay, mommy. and they'll kind of come around to it, So I think if you're doing it like that, then your child is going to respect you and they're going to listen to you. And you're going to have, you had me at Gilmore Girls. I love that part.
Yes.
I love that part of that clip.
Yeah. And literally, like, that is just truly like what their relationship was. Like, I went into it initially being like, oh, I'm going to hate this. Like, I'm not going to like this. And then it surprised me. It was not at all what I thought it would be. So it was really cool to see.
Yeah.
So moving on, for our top 2 fan favorite clip is from the episode Experiencing and Coping with Loss with Courtney. So this was a very, very, very heavy one. This one got really, really good traction. Definitely a lot of people found this one relatable.
Yeah, and it hits close to home. It's like it's close to the heart. What are some of the things that you feel like have helped you in terms of coping?
I think the biggest thing, and I tell people this when they're grieving, and I know it's easier to call shots from the booth than to be living it. And I couldn't hear it at the time, but I can reflect on it now and say, stop looking for the why. The why will find you. Like, the mom guilt of knowing that something in your body you gave to your child, which caused their death, easier said than done, but letting that go. That's not the why this happened. When we moved to Arizona, we packed up all of her stuff. Of course, the kids had the same furniture, the cribs and all that stuff, but I took all her clothes with me because in my head, I'm like, no, we're fixing this and we'll have another baby and I might need these clothes. And I was teaching at the time, and my partner teacher was this amazing woman, and she had 2 biological kids and then a son that she adopted from the Indian reservation, the brother she was fostering and trying to adopt. And then she walked in one day and she goes, oh my gosh, there's a sister. And I'm like, really? And she's like, yes. And we have to get her out of there. And she's like, but I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm like, what do you mean? And she's like, she's I don't know, 4 or 5 months old, and she has shaken baby syndrome. And she's like, I don't have any furniture. I don't have any clothes, and I'm like,
whoa.
I do. Yeah. And she's like, what do you mean? I go, I have everything you need. You can have it. And she's like, are you kidding me? And I'm like, no. And I came home that day and I'm like, hey babe, I need you to meet me at the storage locker. And they came, and Jake's like, are you sure you're okay with this? And I'm like, no, this was why we brought it. Yeah. We brought this is why we brought this stuff. And so, yeah, she set up the room, the bumpers, the sheets, the everything. And it was perfect for that little pumpkin that came home.
That is so perfect.
Yeah. And so why I may not like the why came.
Yeah, that gets me every time. Like, I'm still like choked up hearing it. Like,
trying to pull these clips for Courtney's episode, I was just bawling my eyes out, and I was like, oh my goodness. I love how she says, don't look for the why, because when you're in it, all you have
you're not
is
gonna see it.
Right. You have mom guilt, all this other stuff. You're definitely not going to see it. So wait for the why to find you. It takes a little bit of weight off.
And you might not find the why for a while, you know, like she found the why, it sounds like relatively soon after.
Right.
And it could take years, it could take a while, you know, but the why will find you eventually. So yeah, that was a very powerful thing that I think a lot of people are going to it's going to resonate with a lot of people for sure. So I'm like all choked up because like it's taking me back to that episode. That was definitely
There was a lot to that episode. There was joy, there was immense heartbreak, devastation, and then lots of wisdom and advice. And so if you haven't listened to that episode yet, and this is the first time you're hearing anything from it, definitely highly recommend. There's just, again, there's so much that Courtney says that is just absolutely amazing. All right, so moving into the number 1 episode, the top episode is Hopeisode. Oh yes. Drum roll. The number 1 episode is the Hopeisode meme story. It had a little subtitle. We didn't plan to be super old moms, but here we are. Memes is just full of relatable humor and it just came out of her mouth. So we had to add it on to the end of the Hopeisode title. Memes is she's kind of like a relatable mom influencer. And her largest following is currently on Instagram. And if you don't already follow her, you definitely should. Her handle is @2littles2love. You're just going to die laughing when you see what she posts for content.
Even going through that procedure of like, they had to be so precise, right? Because there's two sacks in there. And like, I'm like, how are they going to know which one? And it was just big. I mean, I'm just like so grateful, you know, that we have the technology and the know-how, and these doctors are just amazing at what they do. But yeah, so that was definitely, I mean, Ryan and I feel like last year, so Evie turned 8 last year because she's just 9, was the first year I was able to like accept it. And like, it took so long for me. I couldn't like even talk about it because it was just like, I just didn't want to talk about it, you know? And, and it's just, I don't know, like, and I know women go through that, and it's, you know, I'm not the only one. And it's just crazy to think that happens often actually with IVF twins, you know, like one will survive and one won't. And sometimes it's even, you know, I don't know, I don't want to say worse, but like, when they have to like actually deliver.
So yeah, for Memes' episode, I'm sure you can kind of tell from the clip, she'd gotten pregnant with twins and she lost one. And she was the end part about where she talks about she's not the only one who's ever gone through this. And, you know, that whole part of that episode, she kind of just talks about how she was really sad for a really long time, and she was kind of going through that alone. I mean, she had her mom, but there are not other women going through it at the same time as her. So it's like so many women who write in. And even when we post on Instagram and we do like the surveys, did you talk to other women about your experience? A lot of times the answer is no. No outweighs the yes.
Close.
Yeah. And so many women do lose one twin after IUI or IVF
and I like also, I guess I was just very naive to it. It's not really something that I would have ever had to think about, and you don't until it happens to you. But I guess I didn't really think about, you know, obviously when you miscarry after a certain time, you need to do like a DNC. You need to like make sure you take all that out because it can be really bad.
Right.
And I guess I didn't really think about what the case would be with twins, where one of them that doesn't make it past that certain time, but the other one does. And in thinking about the fact that you have to go in there and clean that out, and how scary it is. Like, well, don't mess up the other one, you know,
don't
like
accidentally like kill my other baby. Like, you're grieving the loss of one, you're still trying to be happy because you're still pregnant with another beautiful baby. And then you're also worried that something can happen to them while you're in surgery to keep you and your live baby safe and clean out the baby that died. It's just the mental load of that is so immense.
And to like feel like you, I mean, I'm just imagining, and I think we even talked about this on her episode too. It's like, you know, you are so happy, you are so grateful that you are pregnant, but it's still a loss. It's still sad. It's still devastating. And so I don't know if she had people say this to her or not, but I feel like probably something that would be common that would come up in those moments are, well, you're still pregnant, you're still having a baby, you're still going to be a mom. Like kind of like dismissing the grief a little, and like that is not helpful. So anybody listening, if you know anybody around you that's going through that and lost one twin, please do not say those words to them, because that is not helpful at all. It is, yes, they are grateful and they're probably feeling bad for being sad, you know, and feeling conflicted of how they feel. They're still very excited, but it's like, it's still a loss. It's devastating.
Yeah.
So,
but like you're still very much in love with both babies when you lose one. And I remember someone I knew from work had gotten pregnant via IUI, and she'd gotten pregnant with twins, and she lost one of the twins, and she knew their genders, and she had already named them both. One thing she did to kind of make tribute to the twin that died was she named twin A twin B's name. So she had named twin A, she had named twin B, and twin B passed away. And so she named twin A the name that was supposed to be twin B's name. So that was kind of like her tribute to the baby who died. And it was just like so sweet. So that's going to be a story for, you know, twin A when she grows up. She's going to have that story like she's named after her twin.
Oh, so that's really special. Yeah. That's really sweet. Well, now that we brought everybody down, so it's like their top two fan favorites are the saddest episodes we could have possibly pulled, or saddest moments we could have possibly pulled.
Yes.
So,
but Means' episode ends on a pretty hilarious note. She has got so much mom wisdom, and it's just A, relatable, B, I feel like she just, everything that comes out of her mouth is like so funny, and she doesn't even mean to. She should be she should be a stand-up comedian or something.
She kind of is. That's what her Instagram is, I feel.
She just kind of like, funny. I wonder if she just kind of like has a thought and then makes a reel and posts it.
I think she does. I literally think she just records her daily life, and like her life is just hilarious. Like, I feel like her husband probably brings on the fuckery, and she's just like, I'm making a reel about this.
Right. Like, congratulations.
like, thank you for the inspiration.
Right. You pushed my buttons, and now here it is. It's live on Instagram. You're welcome.
Well, that is all we have for you guys today. That was our anniversary episode. So thank you guys so much for being with us for this long. I mean, I know we say this every week, but it's like the follow through an entire year with us. Like, I can't. I'm just so proud of us. Go us.
And and we have enough data to literally create an episode around your favorite moments. So thank you. We appreciate it.
We see what you hate. We know what you like. And we're going to lean into that. We're going to flop into that.
We're going to flop on in.
We're still flopping.
So, reminder, you get 20% off services at Ageless Medical Aesthetics in Westbrook, Maine with the code MAMAS 2024, and a free first swim class at Goldfish Swim School in Portland, Maine with the same code MAMAS 2024. You'll just need to give them a call to schedule your child's first visit.
Thank you for listening. Be sure to tune in next week. Your support is keeping the podcast going. You can help by following, subscribing, rating, reviewing, and especially by telling a friend to listen anywhere or watching on YouTube for full episodes. No more 15-minute clips, full episodes.
Full on episodes. So
full
please.
on fuckery. Go to YouTube. It's there.
Yeah. Please tell a friend. Tell your mother. Tell your mother-in-law.
Tell everyone.
Tell everyone.
Shout it from the rooftops.
Yeah. Geriatric Mamas. Wear a t-shirt that says geriatric all over it. We need all your support. For more info, you can check out our website at geriatricmamas.com. You can follow us on Instagram at geriatric_mamas, on YouTube at Geriatric Mamas, Twitter at Geriatric Mamas, and follow our group page on Facebook, Geriatric Mamas, and on TikTok at geriatric_mamas.
Good job. I was waiting.
I was like, just so clear.
You put it on the end, and I'm like, wait for it. If you have a topic idea you'd like us to discuss, or interested in being a guest, or simply have a funny geriatric story to tell, you can go to geriatricmamas.com and hit be a guest, or send us your story.
Yeah. Just send us a story.
We
want to hear all your stories. Always.
We hear all of them. Bye-bye.
Bye. You hold on a second.
Hit it hard.
Hit it. Get it. Hold on. Gotta find it.